So I think one thing that I always had trouble with is syncing audio. I just really don't like it. One is because my computer always lags, so it's hard to see if it's real time or not. And it's always when I finish exporting the video and sometimes already uploaded a video that I realize that the audio is not synced, so I'm trying to avoid that. My solution is this. Look at this. Test. I think we're good. No more syncing audio, so yes. If you don't know me, my name is Jack, and today I want to talk to you just a little bit about my color grading process because I think color grading is so important if you are creative and if you want to improve your video skills. It just allows you to simply see more and allows a image to be cinematic. And today I just want to show you my process of grading my videos. And I promise it will be really simple and quick. And I just want to say that the way that I'm doing things isn't necessarily the best way. It just has worked for myself. And there are so many amazing, incredible colorists out there, and you should totally check them out. So take what you can, and I'll jump right in. By the way, DaVinci Resolve is incredible. I wished I made the change earlier. It just allows my workflow to be so much better. When you jump into a page like this, when you open up DaVinci, you go to color, and you have your timeline ready, you will see all these clips down here. And what you see here is a node. And so how DaVinci allows you to color grade is that you create all kinds of different nodes, and then you can make edit and adjustment on each one of them. And I'm gonna show you my simple way of editing when you're kind of in a time crunch. What do you do? So the first thing I do is to always create extra nodes. And the very first thing I do is to color correct and color balance. This is a raw footage. So technically I can go to project settings and make a lot of adjustment here. But let's just say that it's not. And let's just say that you don't know what camera this is, you have to work straight off, and you just gotta start correcting. What do? Again, we wanted to make it really simple, right? So the very first thing I do is that instead of trying to fix a color and then adjust the saturation and all that right away and then trying to crank this up and whatnot, what I do is that I actually lower the saturation to 0. And this way, when we go to the waveform, all we see is the light information. We see how much contrast we have. And from this point on, it just makes white balance so much easier. We want to make sure that our midpoint stays around midpoint level. We want to make sure highlight stays on top, black stays in the bottom. Easy. So we can make a quick adjustment like that. But you will see that it still looks kind of yucky. And the reason why that is because when you're working with log or working with raw image, when you adjust this contrast, what you're doing is that you're stretching the middle, but you're not expanding all the information out in the shadows and in the highlights. So something I really like to do is actually going to my curves, because it just allows you to have so much more control over specific points where you want to make adjustments. Say that I think my shadow, I want to lower my shadow, but I want this part to be not so dark. What I can do is I can make an S-curve. I can stretch out my highlight part but not the top. And then I can lower this part. And say that if I want to make this part a little bit more stretched out, I can grab the bottom of this graph and then just lower a little bit more. And then so that I don't mess with my mid levels, and then I can actually go back and adjust this a teeny tiny bit more to give, you know, a little bit more punch. And then after that, let's restore the white balance, and you'll immediately see that it already looks so much better. It depends on other frames of the project, which is something that's really, really important, and I want to talk about that. You want to be able to match that instead of trying to just trying to figure out you know, one specific frame. You want your entire timeline to look good. So I pulled up an example. I want to show you how to do it. So I used this example from The Quiet Place. I grabbed the screenshot, and you will be able to see this side by side when you play still. And this is really, really fun because it opens up a whole new world to allow you to match your project and try to figure out how the movie does it when you try to compare your shots side to side. So immediately we realize that there are lots of differences, even if we're just looking at a waveform. You realize that in The Quiet Place, it's a lot more dark. You see, most of the information is here down below, while in this picture, it's a lot more high-key lighting. So we have a lot more information throughout the waveform, which is fine. There are some of the things that it's just the location settings. You can't completely match that. But we can definitely try our best to try to figure out how to make this look alike. And so let's start from the white balance. So again, let's decrease this to 0. And let's just take a look at the bottom and see how dark The Quiet Place is. And then let's try to match it. So we see that here is A Quiet Place. Here's us. So what we want to do is that we actually want to lower our shadow. Okay, already we have a lot closer of a white balance, and that's the first step, and that's a very important step as well. The next tool that we want to be using is Parade. One thing in Parade you want to be looking at is that this information doesn't tell you about light. It doesn't, like when you see this going over the board, it doesn't mean that you are losing information. It's just telling you the color information. And so again, let's look at the red, green, and blue. And we immediately see that in A Quiet Place, we have a lot more red, and it's almost like a walk down of red, green, and blue. And so let's look at ours. So we realize that we'll see that ours is actually quite similar. While in The Quiet Place, we have a pretty balanced bottom, and on highlight we have a little bit more red, but in ours, our bottom is actually a little bit redder. Our shadows is not so balanced, so let's just try to balance that. So what we want to do is let's go to our saturations, and let's lower our red just a little bit. You don't want to go overboard. And let's raise our blue a little bit so that we can get somewhat of a similar level of things. Okay, so we have much more of a balanced bottom. Now let's look at our top, and let's just find a point. Let's say this point, and we realize that this point, it's also here the highlight is pretty balanced, so we want to lower that. And let's just adjust it to the point that we enjoy, that we like. And already we have a lot more similar of a feel. You realize that it's slightly less saturated. It has a little bit more of a red but yellow like tints to it. And yeah, let's just park it here. Again, you can do a lot of fine tunings on your own. Yeah, but we're gonna move on. And okay, now let's look at another image. And let's, so with this image, with this market, it's also something that's really simple. And I want to show you something that's really easy to do. So again, let's just do this super quick. Okay, cool. So say that this is a super simple grade. We're not styling this in any way. We are not, again, super simple. But one really awesome trick that we can do, especially when you're working with images that are in the same settings and you don't want to go through the troubles of grading it over and over, what we can do is actually create a still. So we can click on this and grab still. And we can go to this image, and we know that this is in the same setting. We shot it in the same day with the same lighting, and we want it to look kind of similar. So what we can do is super simple, is that we can apply this grade to this. And it's not always gonna be perfect because we're still working with different shots. So we can definitely still try to just fix this a little bit more, like touch it up a little. We're working with people now, so we want to make sure the skin tones are correct. Yeah, we just want to look back and forth a little bit. If I think this is a little bit too blue, I can bring back the temperature a little bit, but not too much. Just split the difference a little bit. And then we can put the glow back. Again, you don't have to, you need to discern when to use. You don't want to overuse it. It just doesn't make any sense. So let's just give it a little bit. And let's just bring back the midpoints a little bit more to give it a little bit more contrasty look. Okay, and this is pretty matched. And one really important thing that's always helpful to do, say that we're working with this. Say that we're just working with these 3 nodes and you forgot how to do it. So what you can do is that you can actually go to power grade and you can grab still here, and you'll realize that DaVinci will create a power grade for you. And let's say that I want this grade, not necessarily the color, but I just want the node tree itself. You can just go to the power grade, and it doesn't matter which project you jump on because it's in power grade rather than stills. It allows you to still use this power grade that you have put down. So what you can do is simply drag and drop this power grade, and there you have a node tree. Now you can of course reset all the nodes to not use the color itself, but you definitely have a working node tree right away. Lastly, I want to show you how I work with super low light image. If we look closely into it, you'll realize that it has a ton of noise. Let me just show you here. If I crank up the, let's just drag the highlights up, and then drag the midpoint up, and then lower the, lower this, and then let's just make it fit. You realize that we have introduced a ton of noise, and this really isn't, and you, of course, we can, if you have the DaVinci Resolve Studio version, you can always go to denoiser. You can try to denoise this, and then now we have a better image to work with. Some of the things I like to do, one is to be able to use the denoisers, but another thing that I sometimes like to do is to figure out how to actually use a noise. What we don't want is chroma noises. Luma noises is actually cinematic. And because the chroma noises is what creates these weird tiny little red blocks that look super weird. And so I can just show you right here. If I get rid of a little bit more chroma noises, you will realize that it's less blocky, and you wouldn't have, you see, when I remove the chroma here, you realize there's a lot more red and all these tiny little things. But if I try to get rid, and you can see in the graph as well, if I try to get rid of the chroma noises, now we just have a little bit of noise, which is pleasing to the eye. It's not as jarring if we make it fit. You'll realize that, oh, like it makes sense. You wouldn't be, it wouldn't look off. And so that's the one thing that I like to do. Another thing is that working in low light, especially when you have very minimal light sources, that's actually when glow would do a fantastic job. Okay, so right now I'm not doing anything. I haven't even properly white balanced this yet. And if we drag this a little bit around, yeah, we didn't do anything at all. But let's just add a glow and to see how it would look. One really awesome thing about this effect when you're working with low light, when you have limited light source, is that you actually have the ability to allow soften the image a lot more rather than trying to keep things really sharp, and you allow the light source to be able to spread artificially a little bit more than before. And so if we crank this up a little bit, you'll realize that we have a little bit more softness to it. Now, of course, because we haven't done any of the other kinds of balance and corrections and styling, we're not quite there yet. But let me just show you the work I've done. For this video specifically, I wanted to emulate the 16mm film look. And so instead I found this incredible power grade that I was able to purchase and download, and I'll link it down below to, if you want to purchase it, you can. For this one, again, I'm not gonna go too deep into every single node's function. There are other resources that are out there. If you're interested to know more, let me know, because I can make another video about this. But let's just look at this. Because I wanted to emulate the 16mm film look, I want there to be enough grain to it. So I have added enough grain, and you can see it if I show you compound node here. You can see my grain, and I can add more textures to it if I want to. I add more grain size to it, and you'll be able to see this quite clearly here. But let's just put it back to where it was before. Okay, fantastic. And this node here is the glow. And you'll be, let me just turn this on and off for you to see the difference. The sun has already gone down, but I needed a little bit more light. And when you added that glow, you really allow that sky and the light sources to be able to pop a little bit more and give this soft, a little bit creamy look. And same here. Let's just put this LUT on again. If we apply this grade, you really just start to see the sky a little bit more. If we get rid of this is just completely dark. It doesn't separate and give this a little bit of halo-y look to our bride and a groom. So to recap, I always recommend for you to have a vision towards your entire timeline of what you want your film to look like, rather than to just you know, have the most amount of color, let the saturations go crazy. Know what you're going for, because each styles brings up a different emotions. And so I always recommend you to, before you start grading your film, your projects, to find the lookbook that you have and find the films and short films that you like, grab those stills, chuck them into Resolve and compare it side to side and to see why it works for the films that you like. Number 2, create power grades. It saves you so much time. When you grab still, whether into stills or into power grades, it simply allows you to drag and drop and apply grades to a lot of you know, similar frames that you have. It just saves you so much time. Lastly, understand how to use effects in DaVinci Resolve. Today, one really powerful tool that I've said probably over 10 times is to use Glow, because it's such amazing effects that I think a lot of the colorists likes to use, and I myself included. But DaVinci has so much to offer. It's not just an editing platform. It's not just playing around with the color wheels or curves. There's so much if you want to learn how to track, if you want to separate colors, if you you know, have to transform your color codec. It has so much to offer. If you like this video, consider give it a like and subscribe. And if you want to see more of this, let me know, because I will make more. And let me know what you like to see. I have a link, the Cine 16 Power Grade, down below by Tom Bolles. Amazing cinematographer, incredible colorist, and there's so many amazing colorists and resources and LUTs that people have provided and allow you to make your film better and easier than ever before. So give it a look. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time.